Welcome back. Now, in response to the economic challenges brought about by COVID-19, different banks in South Africa are currently implementing debt relief measures to assist customers in need of such services. And in keeping with Morning Live's plan to bring the different banks to address their customers with regard to the relief measures that have been made available to counter the crisis, today we speak to Anton De Wet, who is the Chief Client Officer of Retail and Business Banking at Nedbank. Anton, good morning. Thanks for speaking to us.
Morning, Sakina.
So let's start off by just taking a look at some of the relief programs that Nedbank has put on offer to its customers.
Great. Thanks very much, Sakina. So I think the first thing we do is we realize that it's a time of anxiety, heightened anxiety, with very many people concerned about their own safety and the safety of their loved ones from a virus spreading point of view. So the first thing that we do is just to ensure that there are social distancing measures in place to protect our clients and our staff. And I'll come back to that in terms of some of the solutions we've got in place from a digital point of view that offer alternatives to banking as we were used to. And then, of course, there's heightened anxiety on the financial implication, and that is with very many people earning less income than what they were earning before. And certainly those clients having any debt with Nedbank would be looking for debt relief, and we'll be doing our part in being able to provide assistance to them. Some of those debt relief measures include typical 3-month payment holiday, and these are not blanket solutions. These are on a case-by-case basis, taking into account whether the person's in good standing or not at the time of going into lockdown. And certainly there are COVID-19 specific measures in place, but we encourage our clients to talk to us in the event that they're experiencing financial difficulty, and we will make arrangements with them.
So, Anton, with regard to those 3-month payment holidays, what exactly are the terms and conditions attached to that?
So typically what happens is if clients engage with us, it's the first important point to note is these are opt-in measures. So there's no blanket solution where everybody or anybody automatically gets a particular relief. So these are clients are encouraged to engage with us, and a typical payment holiday would mean that if you've got an installment on your loan, you would get relief from making that cash flow for that 3-month period. So somebody who's experienced difficulty under C-19, COVID-19, and has reduced income or loss of income engages with a bank, and then the bank agrees to put on hold those payments that would have occurred over those typically 3-month periods. So it gives the person some cash flow relief at a time when they haven't got the money to be able to pay those loans.
And what about the interest? Did I hear you correctly? Are you putting that on hold as well?
No. So what happens is it's very important to I think the most important point is that if you can afford to continue paying, you should do so. All this does is defer those payments. So you get the cash flow relief. And what this means technically is that the amount will actually go onto your loan and you would pay it off over a longer term period, typically a longer term if you keep the same installment, or we would engage with you after things normalize to potentially increase the installment if you can afford to do so at that stage. So it's really a cash flow relief. It's not a debt forgiveness. It's absolutely just giving the cash flow relief so that people can manage their expenses at a time where the income is reduced.
Now, apart from these 3-month payment holidays, are there any other COVID-19 specific relief programs that you offer?
So you could have deferred payments, you could have reduced payments reached in terms of agreement with the bank. There are also protections under some of the products where there's compulsory credit life protection. So, for example, on personal loans, it became compulsory to cover credit life, which includes a loss of income protection. And what this means is that if somebody has taken out a personal loan with that compulsory cover in it, they could very well qualify for a claim against that policy where the payments under that loan will actually be covered under the credit life protection for up to 12 months. Again, the process that we encourage our clients to follow is, first of all, apply for the payment holiday, and then we'll absolutely help them through the process of applying for, if they have got a valid claim, to be able to claim under the credit life as well.
And is this going to have any impact at all on a person's credit worthiness?
No. So I think, we've understood, and the industry as well, we've aligned with industry standards, with regulators in terms of people understanding the impact of COVID-19 and the measures taken in terms of enforcing, the normal debt collection. Everything is in a different space under COVID-19 than before. There are other measures as well that we're doing, which I'd like to talk to you about, which I think are just ways in which we can try and help our clients. One would be, for example, where you've got a minimum payment on credit cards. Normally that would be a 5% minimum payment. We've halved that to 2.5%. So people that have got the credit loan repayments can now pay less on that credit card. And that's a blanket that's available to everybody who's got credit card loans outstanding. Also on our overdrafts, anyone with an overdraft would have enjoyed the benefit of reduced rates generally. We've seen a 2 percentage points drop over the period at an industry level. And in addition to that, what we've done is a 1% rebate. So anyone who's got an overdraft, in addition to a reduced interest rate, they will get a further 1% rebate on that overdraft. All SaaS switch fees, if you think of when you use bank with one bank and you use another bank's ATM, normally the process would be there's a recovery of additional fees that go to using another bank's ATM. Those additional fees are also waived. If you've got fixed deposits or money on deposit that is only due to mature at a later stage, normally if you go and look to withdraw those funds early, the banks would charge a penalty for that early withdrawal. We've waived that early penalty on early withdrawal, acknowledging that people would need to access their funds at this time. And then there's some other initiatives where we support government initiatives around SME loan finance, for example, SA Future Trust, and other initiatives. So we really are trying our best to acknowledge and have empathy with people who are going through a difficult time, and making it easier for them to be able to engage with us.
Now, Anton, with no certainty as to exactly when the lockdown will end or when the economy will be up and running again, what happens after 3 months if things are still bad for your clients? Does the bank have any plans to extend the relief beyond that period?
So there are lots of discussions, as you can imagine. This takes up a lot of our time and attention, trying to do the right thing for our clients, for our staff, for the country. And certainly what we'd be looking at is a review of exactly where we are and the measures we can put in place and keep in place for people who, as you say, this uncertainty, who knows how long this is going to go on for. And we certainly want to make sure that we provide measures to make it easier for people to manage the cash flow impact over even an extended period. What we encourage people to do, though, is to keep talking to us. We've got measures in place where we proactively engage with our clients. Those that we can identify within our base, we proactively can engage with them possibly via SMS and make it very easy for them to respond in an engagement where they can reply, based on certain prompts. We find that has proved to be very useful to keep people informed and have them keep us informed in terms of where they are in terms of their debt. But we'd really encourage people to talk to us and let us know their financial position proactively, so even before the end of the initial 3-month period. Some people, as you imagine, might get a return to some income, or perhaps all of the income, at the end of that 3 months, and then there are very many people who won't. In either case, we'd want to know where you are.
Well, Anton, thanks for speaking to us. Anton De Wet is the Chief Client Officer of Retail and Business Banking at Nedbank, explaining some of the different packages designed to offer financial relief to customers during this COVID-19 period. We have now spoken to 3 banks and we endeavour to speak to as many of them as we can for your benefit here on Morning Live. We're going to take a break, and on the other side of that,